Hey guys, this is Mel, and I am back to talk about the Arrowverse, specifically Supergirl. In my five-part tier ranking of the season series, Supergirl is number 3 in that series. And normally I don't talk about Supergirl unless it is part of the crossover event, so this shall be interesting on just what I have to say about the 5 seasons that we have. So, huge spoiler alert if you haven't seen any of Supergirl, or if you're not caught up, just be aware that I am going to talk about each season as I remember them. And I don't know what I'm going to say when each of them pop up. So, just a spoiler alert warning for that. Also, just a disclaimer, I only know what was shown on the show. I haven't read any of the comics, so I don't know if the adaptations from comic to screen were done correctly or not. I don't know any of the Easter eggs unless people have pointed out to me and I've remembered them in the past. But otherwise, I'm strictly going to be talking about Supergirl to what I remember from each of the seasons, and then I'm going to rank them accordingly based on my own preference. Like this, there's no right or wrong answer here. But it'll be interesting to have a Supergirl video just talking about it since I normally don't talk about Supergirl. But since it is part of the Arrowverse, I figure I can't not include it, especially if I watch the show. You know what I mean? So there's that. So as you can see on screen, we have my 5 categories from rewatch only or rewatch worthy, which is, well, you get the point. To great, good, meh. Meh means it's kind of like it has its good moments, or it's like I don't really care, and so it's like I'll watch it or I won't. But what happened is like I really don't remember, or they did something that I didn't, I thought was poorly, or like they didn't do it the right way, or what I would have done, type of thing. So it's more of a like I disregard that season kind of a thing. So there's that. Because we have 5 seasons and we got 5 categories, by the end of this, there should only be one season in each of the categories. So chances are some seasons are going to be moved around even after I've placed them in a spot. And we won't know until the final one is put in just where everything is going to land. So let's start with season 1. Season 1 also originally started on CBS, I believe, back in 2015. This is the one where we had the main antagonist being Kara's aunt, Astra. This is also, yeah, we also had the crossover with the Flash in season 1 as well. But where would I put it? I think I'm gonna have to. It definitely had some great. It had some great. What is it? Structure for sure. And like it set the rules kind of. So I think it's either gonna be great or rewatch worthy for me. It's gonna be like I'll stick it in the middle because I don't really know because on the one hand we got Cat Grant. I think that's the only season she actually appears in, and it really set the tone for. I think that's also the only time we have uh Lois's sister. What was it, Lisa Lane appearing as well too. Um, and then Maxwell Lord, I think. It's a while ago, but like there's a lot of great characters they established, but we only got them in that one season, which was a shame. But yeah, I'll stick it between the two, and then we'll decide later on where they're gonna go. But season 2 is when we had to deal with Daxam. Daxamites. We got the introduction of Lena Luthor. Got the introduction of Manel. Um, This is also when we have the Supergirl taking part in the Dominator crossover. She goes in to be part of it. So there's that. That one I'm too also wondering whether it's binge watch worthy or great. I'm just gonna stick it between the two because it is, for me, it's a toss up between the two. It depends on what element I want to focus on, and like that's where I would go. But because season 1 has a lot of great characters that I missed that didn't really get to continue further. But then season 2 started off a lot of great relationships too, and it really got certain connections, and it really opened up the world a little bit more about the alien relations. But then season 1 also dealt with the whole your family is your enemy kind of a thing. But season 2 also gave us Clark, like actually gave us Clark. So Um, Plus, then I also don't want to make it that, like, I kind of like season 2 because we got Kara and Monel, and not because they got together, but because I like the antagonism between them, and then it led. I'm always the whole enemies to lovers thing. I always find that trope very interesting to watch on screen, just to see like what it would take for them to make that change between them. So it's like that was always interesting to me to watch. Um, so I think I'm gonna have to do season 2 as my favorite, even though there are in season 1 was great. Like, I think I'd have to do it like that. And then because of that, season 3 is good. Like, it definitely doesn't surpass. The reason why I don't have it surpassing 1 or 2 is just because of the fact that it's tricky. Because they have the enemy being Kryptonian based once again in the World Killer in Reign, which is a great villain to have because it's someone that literally only Supergirl could be the one to stop. It's like, unless Superman, but like, so like it gave purpose as to why it could only be her that stands in the way of the World Killer. But then another thing that really, and then you have the duality of the fact that Reign was an alter ego to Sam, but Sam didn't realize that. And yet when it was Sam that was in control, she still came off as being human as opposed to being a Kryptonian. So it was just an interesting duality there. But the thing that really, I think the reason why it ranks so low for me though is the whole time traveling concept they had. The fact that Monel came from the future with his wife to help Kara stop the World Killer. And then the idea is like, yeah, we got a different Monel from this because he spent 7 years in the future already. But then at the same time, it's like, if you're in the future with technology to travel in the past, why did you not just travel in the past to be with Kara the moment you left? Because if he got cured so that he could breathe in the lead that was now infused in the air, and that's the reason why he left to begin with, why did he not just take that cure in the future, take a ship, and then just go back into the past to reunite with her and be back in the timeline you were supposed to be in? It's very different if you got stuck in the past, because then, yeah, you have no technology to get to the future. But it's like, you were from the future, so how could you not have the tech to come to the past to be where you're supposed to be, you know? And that's the thing that ruins it for me, because, like, that logic made no sense to me. And it's just, like, it's putting Kara in more pain. It's like, no, she deserves to be happy, and you coming back when... For her, it's only months later, but for you, it's been years, and then you suddenly come back. It's like, no. No. So yeah, it's not bad enough for me to put in meh, but it's not going to great. That's for sure. But season 4. Season 4. This had to deal with Agent Liberty. This has to deal with this. Good thing about this season though, it definitely got you to think about all the people affected by all like all the different alien crime scenes that happen, like all the different destructions that Kara has to deal with as Supergirl when she's in these mega fights, and then to see it from the other end of like all the casualties from those fights and what they have to deal with after, and how they're not properly compensated or looked after. That kind of comes into light with Agent Liberty, which I understand. But then at the same time, it's like, it was very annoying. I remember being very annoyed by the storyline, because also they introduced the fact that the end of season 3, they introduced the fact that Kara had accidentally made a duplicate of herself, which I thought the rest of season 4 was going to deal with that being the other enemy. But instead, they came up with Agent Liberty, and only as a side scene note that Kara's doppelganger was being controlled by Lex Luthor. And I'm like, no, you could have done a lot more with Kara having a doppelganger. She could have caused a lot more shenanigans for her by pretending to be her. And we only saw that in maybe 1 or 2 episodes behind the scenes to show what Lex was doing. So it's like, no, this one's going in my what happened. Because I had so many issues with it. It was just so frustrating. How a lot of things were dealt with where I could have seen it happen in a different way, or certain characters being sidelined and just like, yeah, sidelined, and then they're just not here. And also, Win wasn't in it too, so it's like, nah, thanks. So there's that. And then season 5. Again, cut short because of the whole pandemic thing, but also they had to deal with the fact that half of it takes place on Earth 38, and then you have Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then you have the second half dealing with it being on Earth Prime. This one's a meh for me, just because of that. They don't really talk about how they literally shift worlds and like how that compensates for it. Because now, one thing that was great about Supergirl was the fact that it was on a separate Earth, but then because of that, you didn't have to account for all the alien life forms on Earth. You didn't have to bring that up on Arrow, Flash, or Legends, because they, as far as we know, their Earth didn't have that level of sophistication. But then after Crisis, once Supergirl moved to Earth Prime, now Arrow, Flash, and Legends all have that alien sophistication to it that Supergirl had, and yet you don't bring it up at all, which is frustrating. And now I'm losing my voice, but give me a moment. Plus, also another thing that bugs me though is that the main villain, from what I remember from season 5, the main villain was the Leviathan, but it seems like the only person who was on it was Lex Luthor and Brainy. It wasn't Supergirl. Supergirl was more on the Obsidian Tech conspiracy theory, which yes is the front company of the Leviathans, but they didn't really know Leviathan as a threat until Lex Luthor brought it up to them. Even though Lex didn't know about them until after Crisis, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I really don't know. And then also they had the 100th episode in this one as well, which was really like Kara and Lena centric. Which, yeah, season 5 was great for handling the progression that Lena and Kara had to deal with after the distrust they had at the end of season 4. But that's probably the only progress. Otherwise, it's a meh for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. So, rewatch worthy. Season 2, great. Season 1, good. Season 3, meh. Season 5, and what happened? Season 4. Am I surprised? Now that I've talked it out, not really. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'm interested to see what you guys have to say in regards to how you rank the series by its seasons. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your own thoughts and maybe your own reasonings behind why you like certain seasons over others. Maybe they match mine, maybe they don't. Maybe I disregarded stuff, or maybe I actually forgot stuff. I don't know. It's a little different because usually, since I don't do recaps for Supergirl, I don't take any notes when I'm watching it. So my memory is really shot when it comes to that. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say about in the comments down below about that. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check my other videos if you haven't done so already. Again, there are 5 videos to my tier ranking series for the Arrowverse. This one being number 3. So check out the other ones. They should be posted at this point. Like to subscribe to the channel and check my videos. Did that already. Also, don't forget to check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, shifts, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. A little more organized, a little more detailed, still a work in progress. I still have to update that though, hopefully during the holidays. Same for WordPress. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress. A little more organized, a little more detailed, still a work in progress, like I've said. Link down below as well. Otherwise, I think that's going to be about it. Also, season 6 of Supergirl is the final season, but it's also a mid-season release. So I don't know, because of the pandemic, I don't know when they shifted that to. Because usually mid-season meant either a January release or a March release. But because our usual October release has been moved to January, I don't know how far back the mid-season release is going to be. So it's still going to be some time before we get that final season of Supergirl. So, there is that. I'm still debating if I actually want to do the final season recap for the final season of Supergirl, or if I just might do the pilot, the premiere episode. I haven't decided yet. Don't quote me on it, but put the notification bell on if you want, just in case I do. I'm not promising anything because I really don't know yet. It really would depend when it's actually released for us. But otherwise, if I cover any other shows that you do watch, follow me for those ones as well. But otherwise, I'm just gonna leave it at there, guys, because well, I feel it in my throat now that I should stop talking. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope to see you guys again soon. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Have a safe and happy holidays. Please wear a mask during this pandemic, and just be kind and mindful of each other. So take care, guys. Bye for now.